Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of the We Women project. Today, I'm in the august company of mother achievers who took on their life challenges and made it larger causes to serve. So very, very privileged to be in the company of mothers who have moved mountains. I'm just very wanting to understand, where these two worlds came together, that you had a personal challenge, that you had to face a personal challenge, you had to accept it, process it, give that child your whole, and then move it into a larger purpose. How did you navigate that whole bit for yourselves?
I think for me, it was mainly, that acceptance and the support of my husband. He stood by me like a rock.
I think for me, it was just allowing myself to break down completely and then rebuild.
So you just have to take it one day at a time. And if you go with what you believe in and the decision is yours, I think you will own it up. And you should not allow anyone else to make your decision.
So neural plasticity is basically the ability of the brain to reorganize itself, especially when children are little. And I would say for any parent with a diagnosis, do not wait. Go out and do whatever you can as early as possible so that you can take care of the plasticity of the brain to be able to take your child forward.
Because in autism journey, I knew he was going to take a journey upward. And I had to wait it out. I didn't want to feel low. One of the things I did was I completely cut off social media till I was ready for it.
I think you bring such a valid point on reverse sensitization. Has that changed in the last couple of decades? The reverse acceptance, the reverse sensitization. If we could just talk about each of your ventures, maybe just a one-liner to just introduce yourselves, and then we can go ahead with the conversation. I have no particular order. You can choose whoever wants to go first. So that you want to start?
Okay, sure. So I'm the founder director of ASD Buddy. It is an autism education app. Okay, the intent is to educate parents and professionals in whatever is the latest methodologies in autism remediation and ensure that no family is left without correct information and latest information. And of course, just information is not sufficient because it's available in plenty in the internet. So what we have focused more heavily is on practical training and supervision as well. So that's what we do through ASD Buddy. And go ahead, have a look at it and do give us your feedback.
Great. Yeah, Nameeta.
Okay. I'm the founder of Samsara Pedia Care. We make bottles for babies who are born with a cleft lip and palate. Typically, these babies are unable to successfully breastfeed because of the lack of anatomy, the oral anatomy. And what the bottle essentially does is it gives the control of the pace of feeding into the hands of the caregiver, which could be the mother or the father who's feeding the baby, as opposed to traditionally these babies were fed with a bondla or a vati chammach, paladai. And we decided to come up with something that will support the babies from birth through their surgeries, because there are 2 milestone surgeries that happen, and within the first year of the baby's life. And the bottle supports them right after surgery as well. Yes, up until their palate repair is complete and the anatomy is complete, and then the babies can transition to feeding like
through a regular
mode of
phenomenon.
So yes, the feeder is called Boond, and
wonderful.
So I am the co-founder along with my partner Gopika of an app. It's called Buddy App Network, and it is a social app primarily for people with disabilities to make social connections. It's an inclusive and accessible app that allows people to meet people who they may not have met, organically in their own, social circles. It is open to people without disabilities as well. So yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you so much,
And
Manisha.
yeah, the idea was really to address the concern of people with disabilities sometimes not having the same social opportunities as people without disabilities. So to give them a platform where they could meet each other and meet people with shared interests and life experiences.
Mhm. Thank you. So, and you're also expanding it for them to find the life partner on the app.
That's our next update. That's going to be coming up soon. Yeah.
Great. Good luck on that.
Yeah, so I am founder and director of Special Hangout. It is again, a physical meetup thing where we meet twice a week with people with disabilities and their families. Basically, we want to make the community stronger, and also these children and even grown-up adults to find more friends and more places to go and enjoy. Let it be like how anybody else has so many parties and so many other events to attend. So we basically organize inclusive celebrations and inclusive events. We do it a lot in collaboration with other NGOs also, and we are supporting more than 400 families now.
Wow, great. Thank you so much, Ritu, for joining us.
I am the founder and principal consultant of Integrated. Integrated is a center for speech and hearing for adults and children. We do all the testing starting from newborn hearing screening to fitting of hearing aids, cochlear implants, therapy for children and adults. We've also organically moved into being a center for child development where we offer services for child development as well.
Thank you, Manisha. So today, if you have to look back, at each of your journeys, what is something that makes you really proud?
I think for me, it would be making a difference in the life of a family. I think, and helping them, like I said before, reach their full potential. So when a family comes into our center, we just don't only look at their speech and hearing, but we look at the child holistically. So we look at the child development aspect and all other aspects, and we either help them in-house or we connect them with other specialists to ensure that that piece is taken care of. Until all those aspects are taken care of, the child will not reach their full potential.
So the holistic,
Element of pride, okay. Personally, it is the fact that my son, we did enough work that my son could attend school without any additional support, and he manages to pass all his subjects on his own with nobody to support him. And of course, we do have tuition teachers and stuff like that, but I know that beyond me, he would be able to live an independent life on his own. And I wouldn't have to think very hard about what would happen after me. So that has been a kind of I won't say pride, a kind of a comfort which when you go to bed in the night, it's a little easier. So, but in terms of professional, 700 people have learned from our app. That is, it is very satisfactory. I can see that the word autism education through the app is spreading, and I am trying to raise a pillar for a house which people think is not required, and I'm trying to say, 4 pillar है therapy ये वो ठीक है, center में एक और support कीजिए ना, पूरा 4 अच्छा खड़ा होगा. Let's just put that pillar in the middle and make it a little stronger as autism education. So if I can get that done for say 10,000 by the end of 2 years, it will be a good milestone to then be proud of. So,
Nameeta, I'm looking at you.
I think again, I resonate with what you're saying. There's 2 facets to this journey. One is with my daughter, who we have enveloped in love and empowered her to the point that she can today stand up for herself when she gets bullied or picked on or questions are constantly being asked. she will make them sit down and tell them what she was born with, and as will my son. And that to me is a victory with her. So that's what professionally is to be able to raise the boundaries that I could. And also, it's been a very humbling experience for me. To every time I have wanted to give up, it's like a call from the universe, where I'll get that one phone call to just speak with another mom, a fellow mom going through the same things that we did. And it's just so grounding and humbling. And you don't see the work that you're doing as anything that you're sort of, will raise your ego or anything of that sort. In fact, it just breaks you down each time, and it just levels you out completely. So I think that, and then the other professional aspect of, like I said, drawing those, you make a nice boundary, and then you build a little fence, and then you open the fence out again, and just close it again. So it's been multifaceted for me. So this is fun. So I can't pick just one. It's been very, and I'm glad. I mean, I remember when we first found out, I said, "Why me?" And now, I remember this moment so distinctly. I said, "Why not me? Why not me? Yes, I can do it. I will draw out a birth plan. I will draw out everything." It was like a woman on a mission.
Yeah.
So I'm
Standing
glad it was
ovation
me.
there.
I would not change anything. Everything that I have gone through, and the family and the support, that I'm so grateful. Right? I really won't change anything.
So for me, I'll tell you personally and professionally. So personally, I would say when I think back about what I'm really proud about, I think it's a sense of positivity that we as a family have been able to have around, whatever challenges were thrown at us. And I think that has kind of Mihan has absorbed a lot of this. He is very positive. He's very proud of who he is. We've talked about Down syndrome. The moment he was able to understand anything, we sat him down, told him he had Down syndrome, because I said, I don't want to be talking to other people about him where he is not part of this thing. So we've made him proud of who he is. He bears his, limitations and, strengths very proudly. And I think that has sort of, I think that positivity tends to rub off onto other people who meet you. They also sort of say, okay, life is not so bad. If things come at you, you can get through them. So I think hopefully that will also be something that is spread amongst people that meet us, would hopefully go away with that same sense of positivity. And professionally, I would say for somebody who has, both of us, Gopika and I, have no tech background, and we have really very little business background, and we've kind of created an app with a lot of help, of course, with a lot of help from our friends, family. I think is just.
But you still went out and did it.
We've
Yeah.
done it. I know. So yeah, that I have to
That's
say is quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something to be
Very proud of.
Yes. So when I look back at this journey, I think one thing I'm proud of is my son Kritin. And he is, as I shared earlier, when he was diagnosed with seizure disorder and developmental delay, global developmental delay, I had to quit my job. In just a fraction of a second, I just made a decision. And now when I look back, what I have created is far more satisfying, and reaching so many people who are in need. I feel that was my mission. That was Kritin's mission, to come into my life. Nothing happens by chance. If he's come into my child, if a child with disability is my baby, then there's more to it.
And initially, like, yes, there was denial and there was like, I can do it. I have fought with teachers, I've fought with principals, I've fought with society. And I said, he will do it. There was a point, he's cleared as an iOS 12. There was a point when they were doubting him. And they said, like, let's not do all this with him, let him do functional academics. And I sat in the principal's office and I said, my son will do it. And I came back home, I cried. It's not that it was easy. It was very tough, but we did it. We did it as a family with support of my husband, my younger one. And I'm very, very grateful for him being in my life. I shared earlier, his sibling had to go through a lot when he was growing up, and there were ups and downs. But how compassionate the child is now, how empathetic he is now. I'm so grateful to God. Like, he learned it in the process, because it's very tough to teach these things to a neurotypical child.
Yeah.
But he learned it in the process. So me and my husband, we've grown as humans. We have been totally humbled, grounded by, we were flying high. We just thought, we'll do this, that, my husband was brilliant academically, gold medalist, IITian, and we always thought our children will be brilliant. But Kritan really humbled us.
But
And
they're brilliant in different ways.
they are
I would
brilliant. They
think.
are brilliant. Of course, they are brilliant. But it really humbled us. Like, these degrees and these big things, they
mean
don't matter. What matters is what we can do with what has God given us, and how we can go out and help others who are in this journey. So that is, I'm really, really proud and very grateful to God for giving Kritan to us.
Yeah.
I think I resonate about the gratefulness. I think definitely, I mean, I wouldn't have wanted my life any other way. So, and I also want to add with what you said about siblings. Absolutely, I think, ensuring that the sibling is well taken care of and the sibling is given more time. I would not say enough time, but maybe more time, because they go through a lot when all the attention is given to your child who requires it. So thank you for bringing that point out.
Yeah, absolutely. How does family emotional resilience, how does that get built in this process? Is it like a step-by-step thing, or you just all decide that
I think I think that inner strength just comes. And I mean, I'm just talking about myself and my family, that it, since I said before that my husband stood by me like a rock, I think that gave me the support to move forward. And I think things changed at that point, where my daughter, she is just 2 years, 4 months younger than my son, who herself needed a lot of love, care, and understanding. Suddenly her life changed. But she just has been on this journey with us, and we've kind of just been able to take it in and move forward. I think that inner strength is something that
just comes.
It just comes. Yeah.
You have to, can
Yes,
I just say,
please.
you just have to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
I think the less you resist, it happens. And for me, my younger son, I openly, he's in his teens now, so I tell him, you are actually the reason we are this today. You are the reason. And I honestly confide and say, we may have been a very different family if not for you. And that's true. And I tell him that very openly.
Absolutely.
We are who we are only because of you. And I'm so grateful that you came in, you gave us a very positive spin to life, and great. But yes, not everyone gets the same support structures. Both sides of my family did support us, though emotionally they also went through a little bit to accept and all of that. But I think honestly there was enough support from siblings and grandparents, and I would also like to mention my school friends who stood by me. They never ever asked about him. Whenever we used to talk, it will only be chatty old days. And in fact, one of the reasons, I think there's a question later on we can take if you want, where we talk about what what keeps you motivated and going, and what brings you that change, it is those childhood memories. I go back to those happy days in school, where those happy friends, we chat up and they're like, hey, you can do it, yeah, you did so much those days. Just that one sentence from those old friends, it just kickbacks that whole energy. I think the resilience also comes from childhood. It's how you're raised, your environment, and your support structures matter. But I think everybody can raise. I honestly feel that everybody can raise.
Life as such, I mean, in whichever situations, not a bed of roses, right? There's some challenge or the other that comes in. So yeah, and I think all of you just show the way.
In
Even
fact,
more.
you call this mothers who move mountains. I feel like that's, it's just, it feels, we're just, regular moms doing what we do, what I think,
like every
anyone
mom
in a situation faced with a certain set of challenges would rise up to it, and I think I don't see us as any different from any regular.
I'm sure the the depth of that emotion is that and y'all are given a path, y'all have chosen to just embrace it and move ahead and take it up to a wholly different level. So my next question around this is that it's a very emotionally raw journey, right? We can't deny that. And when you have to go back and then you see multiple families around you go through that emotional trauma, it can be draining at many levels. So how do you all combat that, and how do you draw the lines between personal, emotional, and professional empathy? How do you bring that to the table, Nameeta?
Right. So I think my journey gave me an insight into what fellow cleft parents are also going through or were going through and continue. So yes, that understanding was something that got developed owing to what we've gone through. But as far as then work is concerned, then I compartmentalize the two. It's been a journey, it's not been easy. For example, just to be able to, there was so much guilt that I was laden with that I have to sell the product. For example, I don't want to sell the product, but I have to sell the product. That was exhausting. The tears that I cried in the back and forth. And by the time you're incubated and then, you keep having these discussions, I don't want to make money. But how will I survive? How will I take that I have created to the people? So that's a dialogue. So that's something that I've had to learn to then be flexible about. Where can I be flexible with it? So, what can I do to be able to make it available to someone who really needs it but can't afford it, versus who can afford it but is, then I don't have to have guilt on that front. So that has been my biggest journey. And honestly speaking, that is something that I have always struggled with as an individual. I cannot ask for money.
So many of us have.
Whether it is when I was working in a corporate setup or I was running my own business. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this, because I will give in 110%, but I cannot ask for money. And I think that's why I was maybe put in this situation as far as work is concerned, to be able to draw those boundaries. And it's been an exhausting work in progress. But again, I've been very fortunate that the kind of mentors that I got, the places that I was incubated with, they had so much patience with me, because we would sit, we would discuss. I'd say, yes, I understand. Call back again the next day, I cannot do this. How can I do this? Can I? It's just so much back and forth. And so my in-laws have been really supportive, as well as of my parents, because I have chewed up everyone's brains over this. And my husband, so that's been the journey. But I think I've slowly now learned to compartmentalize the two and not have, as far as the work is concerned, not have that mixed up. But as far as the empathy and the compassion and the emotion goes through, that of course is like a give and take, because you learn from one and you apply it to the other, then you're learning from the other, and then you're applying it to your personal life. So but yeah.
Wow, Nameeta.
It's a tough one.
It's so difficult. I
I
can't.
think women are tuned. Women and money, I think that's a separate thing. We are tuned in this manner. But yeah, I completely hear you.
In my case, I couldn't sleep. If I see a new child, I'll start planning. We should do this, we should do that. Okay, that didn't go right. I'll think so much I wouldn't sleep in the night. And it happened again and again when I was interning in my psychology. And then I was going sleepless, and then she said, my mentor there, she said, what happened? No, I could not sleep, ma'am. We should do this, ma'am. After this, we should do. Wait, why didn't you sleep? And then she started saying, like, you have to learn to separate. So when you learn to separate, but it took a good 2 years to learn to separate. It's easy to say, but it took a very long time to learn to separate.
If you learned, what was the learning? How did you?
I would learn, first of all, logging everything helped. So I would make a proper file with everything logged in. So I'm like, okay, I've not forgotten anything. And then I would learn to switch off after every session. I see only 2 or maximum 3 families in a day. So after every session, I will shut the system. I will not just close the laptop. I'm shutting down the system. These are some small things which I do for
No, absolutely valid. I think, very valid.
Shut down the system. I don't do that too very fast. I take my time out. I go have coffee. I have my children. And then when that thought comes in, I write it in the side and I leave it. Write it, leave it, so that it is not happening again and again. And then you slowly also with experience realize that everybody need not do the way you did. Okay, everybody need not have the same journey as you did. You're trying your best to help, but there is destiny, and it is what they choose. It is how they want to take their life, and you try your best, but then you have to let it go. You have to let it go after you've tried your best. And that has taken me 2 years to learn that you can try your best, but sometimes you have to let it go, because every family is very different. Our support structures are different, our environments are different. We cannot expect the same thing from every family. Just to get in and understand that will take us 3 to 4 weeks to understand what each one is going through, where the trigger is. Like, I remember there was one mother who was very feeling very emotional, and I was like, why is she suffering so much? She's not even able to talk. She said, this autism happened because some part of my dowry was not given. Okay, come back again. Okay, that's a heavy toll you're carrying, my dear. Please, let's talk about this. Okay, so very often you have to talk about the emotions of the mother going through. It may not be related to autism also. It will be like the emotion she is going through, emotion he is going through. But once you learn and you practice more, you guide, you give them the set of things to do for the week, and then you shut it. And then you don't think about it till they come back the next week. But yeah, we do have this a daily connect through message for some families. So sometimes they write and it's difficult. Now I have learned to also put do not disturb. These are things I have learned. Like at 10 o'clock I'm switching off phone, I am switching off phone. Even if you message after that, I will not reply after that. So these are some things we have learned, because there has to be some boundary. Otherwise you can't.
Absolutely. So we live in an environment where mental health has become an acute need, priority across sectors and everything. So whether it's personal, when you deal with these children, and I see that some of you have also, like, you've done a master's in psychology, you've done emotional freedom technique
and mental health
yes. courses, and so how important are these, and how does it all come together when you work with, and how do you see the ecosystem today? Where are we on the mental health spectrum, and how do we deal with it?
Yeah, I think the core of working with any family is to ensure that we have looked after their mental health. I think everything else comes later. I think that is the first core of it. And I think I went out and did the mental health course to be able to help other families. But honestly, it helped me a great deal.
Yeah.
And that has been a game changer, because I now can help the families to I first deal with their mental health, ensure they are in a good space before actually even starting to work with the families. So I would say it goes hand in hand, and mental health is.
What, I mean, if I was to ask you for maybe 2 tips or 3 tips on this that we can practice day to day, like you say, you have imbibed a lot from it or learned from it, what would it be?
I think from my emotional freedom technique course and the mental health course, I think one of the first things is to take out time for yourself. As a mother, I realized when I was doing the course that I wasn't looking after myself at all. I was just on the go.
Mm.
And at that point, when I stopped and took a pause and said, hey, I'm important too. What are my needs? What are my likes and dislikes? So taking time out for yourself. One of the things that I do now every day in the morning before I set out for my day is sit down, do some meditation. Emotional freedom technique is a tapping technique, which basically releases blocks in our body. So I do that. I do other techniques. So I try to spend at least 15 to 20 minutes. And if I have more time, half an hour to an hour, just to ground myself so that I have the energy to give to the others. So.
Wow. So, do you have anything to share on this?
Mental health, actually, when we got the diagnosis and we were working with the child and all of that, I did not consider my mental health as something of a priority. It was like a train which was just going on and on and on. There was no stopping it. But fortunately, my son got a lot better. And within 2 years, he started giving us the time to pause. So, what are you doing? And then I did take help. I took a couple of sessions from the same person who was teaching us about autism, and she also helped me out with a few sessions, and that helped with the pause. Put the pause button, and fortunately, with his growth, I think I also grew, and I was a person who will never say no. For everything, I'll say yes. So I learned to say no. So that's something I had to learn, that I need not do everything because I can do. There can be that I don't want to do. So I can also say I don't want to do. So that was a learning. Now I choose what I want to do. I even sometimes choose the families I want to work with, because sometimes I feel they are not in the space and they're not going to actually do it. Then I tell them, this is your home program, please do it and come back when you're done. I don't do the customized program of every alternate day I'm reviewing your work, you're continuous. I know that for certain families, they are not in the space to be able to do a rigorous program like that. And now I've learned to say, no, this will not work for them. Let me give them something that will work for them. Just because I believe that's what will give the fastest result for the child, I don't have to push for it. So I have learned to say that this will work for them, this will not work for them. So I also obviously account for the mental health of that parent there. Maybe it helps a little that we have been in those shoes, and it's a little easier to, like this morning, the parent was asking in the group, I'm very scared to do therapy for my child. And I said, are you afraid you will do it wrongly? She said, yes, ma'am. I don't want to do it wrongly. So there's nothing like doing it wrongly. Just assume you're just playing with your child. What is going to go wrong? Why are you so scared? I don't want to do something wrong with the child. So these are
Deep emotions. Yeah.
deep emotions, and you have to say a lot of courage is required for the parent. And one of the policy wise changes which I push for is, when you're giving a diagnosis among the 21 disabilities, whichever diagnosis you're giving to the parent, I push now in all platforms, and I say give some positive stories with it. Okay, attach something which will give them some hope and some guidance and some positivity towards how to take it from there. Just don't give diagnosis.
Absolutely.
Why can't at that document have something attached to it which gives a way forward positively?
Absolutely.
So that's something I've been talking about in platforms. So mental health I don't know. I think a person, my husband will better answer it, but I think I handled it by doing a lot of work, and then I put a pause, and then I took it slower. So that's how I handled it.
Nameeta, when you spoke about all the rawness and all the messiness, right?
Yeah.
And it was still quite raw actually for me when I heard it. So
Yeah.
how did that?
So I resonate with what Sudha is saying. I was going at breakneck speed after we found out. And there did come a point in time where I completely broke down. Yeah, there was just like nothing. And that's when I actually reached out for help. And therapy is very, very healing. But I also believe in a lot in alternative therapy healing as well. While there is talk therapy, which has proved very, very beneficial for not just me, but even my family. We're able to work together. There's something called craniosacral therapy, which we have found very beneficial for even Tara. So we have leaned on it for just pre and post surgery. In fact, for both my children. And we also make use of that. There's pranic healing. So while there is what we understand as therapy and mental health, which is the talk therapy, I also supplement it with all these other practices. And then there are certain grounding practices that I ensure are somewhere a part of my routine. Even if I can't incorporate it every day, but there will be moments where I mandatorily have to take a pause and wait, because otherwise it can all get very overwhelming. And then there is this organization called IEC, which is Institute for Exceptional Children. We try to refer some of the fellow cleft parents who came to us for just conversations, and we try to refer them and have some kind of an association happening with them to be able to support not only the parent but the cleft child, and try and make it more holistic in terms of, while you're taking care of the physical health, you do have an option of taking care of the mental health as well, because like you said, not everyone has the support system at home to be able to give that approach. And I feel like, in spite of having a fantastic support system that we still needed all those things to be grounded, to be in a space where we can, in a space where we can be there for our children, where we can be there for our work, where we can be in different aspects of our lives. So it's not just the one thing that is the answer. It's literally, you take care, is what has worked for us as a family, as a whole.
Absolutely.
So for me, when I sometimes look back at some of those years that I used to work with Mihan, I would come back from work, he would come back from school, I would have to kind of work with him across different things that he had learned to reinforce certain things. And then I literally did not have like a second. Sometimes I would just, want to get a haircut and realize that it had been a year had passed to take out that time. So yeah, when I look, and I'm in a better place now, I just wonder how did I do it? I think when the thing is presented in front of you, you just do. You do what needs to be done. I don't know where that strength comes from. I think it definitely helped. For me, it helped that I constantly had people to talk to. So my husband, he is my friend as well. We talk about everything. I have a daily call to my sister who lives in the US, but I talk to her every day. So it's like literally like there's an unloading and outpouring of whatever's, just let it all out. I think really helps. Friends, just anything that is really bothering you. If you have a bunch of friends to reach out to, I think that can be very, very therapeutic. And I think that's kind of what helped me get through tough times. So yeah, I just feel like, it happened. Things have sort of calmed down now from what
Where
they
it
used to-
started,
what they
where it
used to
started.
be. But yeah.
Yeah,
Do you have any?
So for me, a lot of anxiety was there when Kritin was diagnosed, and I was trying to, like I said, I was trying to bring him to that level, to be like any other child, a neurotypical child. And there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of hard work went in, therapy after therapy, and plus a younger one in the tow. So it was very tough. But yes, as a family, I would say, my husband would take turns and he would take them for the classes. I would do the therapy and all that. Like Monisha, I also have, my elder sister. I talk to him about everything under the sun, and my emotions, everything. It's very therapeutic. Talking to somebody, pouring your heart out. But at times, you feel. You feel overwhelmed with emotions, with what the future holds for you and for your family. The finances are getting drained in these therapies and these all what is happening. So at that time, I picked up my spiritual practice. I chant Buddhism. I am that Namya Horenge group, Children's Buddhism. That gave me lot of strength. We had a very good, I still do, we have a very good network of friends. With family, pouring out your emotions with my husband or my sister, it was like I'm giving them my anxiety. I'm passing it on to them. If they are in happy space, I'm making them anxious with, oh, this might happen. But with this family of mine, Soka family, my Buddhist family, anything happens, goes wrong, I'll pick up my phone and pour my heart out. This happened. And they'll just assure me, don't worry, we are praying for you and your child. That assurance coming from a third party without bothering your immediate loved ones was such a big strength. It still is. Anything goes wrong in my life, the first phone I pick up and call my Buddhist family. And it's a rock solid support. And I'm protecting my loved ones from my negativities, from what I'm thinking might go wrong. It may not also. But sometimes we assume so much. So I had a very good setup where no emotions were attached. They were listening as a third party. They were guiding me as a third party. And we conquered a lot of things together. We navigated a lot of things together. I'm so, so grateful to each one of them. Yeah.
I want to just add, actually, I forgot to mention. So, after I did my mental health course with Umeed, since it helped me and other families, I decided that the parent support group We Connect, I needed my core team to also learn this. So, we started then, we did a group course for the core team, and then every year, one core member has been doing this course so that they can support the rest of the families. And that has been really wonderful. What actually Umeed also did for us is COVID times, there were 20 moms who signed up for this course, and we did a 1-year course just for the moms. And then now they have become mental health supporters to other families.
So there is a structure that's building, and
there is a structure that is building, and there is a sense of empathy and support that we are able to provide to other families.
So multiple support structures that kind of kick in
Correct.
and
Yeah.
help us. And I think the overwhelming thing is pause. I think pause is for all of us. I think we just need to take time out and pause. So I think we've spent a lot of time discussing, the personal journey and how it has culminated in the innovation service that each of you have brought onto the table. But scaling, operations, all of that can be a messy zone, and it takes time and effort as much as anything else. So, is there any thought processes that you have on innovation? This I'm talking purely from a business hat, because even as a startup, even as anything, you have a great idea, but to put it into execution and to take it out to a larger public takes an enormous effort to do. So, what are your challenges? What is something that you have learned in the process in this?
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
When we started Special Hangout, of course, it was not a business idea. It was just a personal need. And we had no finance. It is a very low budget model. We requested to few schools, and we were fortunate we got one place. So we were not paying rent for that place. And it was just a play date. No money was required. It was very low finance thing. But as we grew, yes, the need was there to get more funds and to give better things to our children and get better resource persons whom we can pay, and they can teach better. And so we made it a self-sustainable model. So each parent will pool in some money for that class on actuals, which was very nominal. We did it in group. Parents were happy. They were getting better therapies or better resource people to deal with their children at a very, very fraction of the cost what they were paying for individual sessions. And then friends and families, they started donating as they came to know about this venture. They started donating. And that is when we realized that to do bigger things, we need to register ourselves if we are looking for funding from government or CSR. So it was not planned for, but eventually it happened, and we registered ourselves. Yes, the regulations, compliances of forming a company and then handling it's quite a lot, but we are looking at the bigger picture. We want to reach to larger audience, and for that funding is required.
So baby steps that you have to move and structure yourself and move in that direction. Sudha, what has been your experience in this?
I am literally wearing two hats alternatively. It has not been easy, that part. I do wear a psychologist hat when I'm dealing with the family the whole day. And then once the day shuts, then I see business. And when I see business, I do try to wear a business hat. I have my MBA degree, which I make full use of. Autism education itself, people see it like, is this required? Like very, very required. So I have to now create a market for myself. That itself is new. So the product, though very big professionals recommend to parents, parents still don't see it as a necessary component. They are like, what more are you going to say other than what I can see on Instagram and YouTube? But once they come in and once they listen, they're like, okay, this is different. They are making us do it. This is not just listening. It's going a little beyond, and they're making you do it. We are targeting parents who are very sensitive about how they want to handle the child, how they want to handle themselves, take their time to come out and tell about how you're feeling, and learn slowly at your pace. All this, we have been very mindful when we built the app. That's part of the innovations. Operations, yes, I have taken all these regular IT modules to conduct the operations. That's how I do it, but it has its challenges. But I can say that the first year we made a loss, and I have been very, very correct with how I handle my money. So from the second year onwards, we have not made a loss, and this year also we are booking a profit. So we have been very careful how we spend the money we earn. We hardly take what the salary we take. I take 10K as a salary, which is not even a salary for this day, but we have also given salaries. We have hired 2 people to support us from behind. We give a very nominal salary. Every year we are trying to put in what we can sustain in the long run. So because I want this to be there even long after I've gone, and I don't want to take there are people from US who said they will fund before we could present idea to the Indian audience. And I still said, you know what, we are going to come back to you after a year. And they pinged us last week saying, are you ready? I'm like, okay, we will take the funding when the time comes, right? But I do want to put the model right. I want the messaging to go right. These are things which we have been very careful as a brand. We don't want it diluted. And we were surprised that people from across the world checked us out completely. In and out, they checked us out. And more for even checking if we have taken their content. And they saw that every word was written by me. Every audio, every video was written by us and shot by us. So there was nothing we were taking from anyone. We were just delivering new content, researched content to the parent in a manner they will understand. That's also a lot of challenges come, and you have to learn to deal with it.
There is a
Challenges of running
pilot,
a
then there
business.
is a structure like Ritu says, and then there's a go-to-market strategy that you develop and you build the content and take it back, and then possibly the financing would
Financing
then
is my next
come in.
stage for which I'm getting ready, because now I know clearly where I'm going, what am I selling. Defining that also took time. Whom am I selling to? So they will call this in entrepreneurship, they say it's the avatar. Define your avatar
define
very
your avatar.
carefully. So you define the avatar, it takes you some time to understand. You keep thinking you can reach everybody, but no, there is only one kind of people who are going to consume your content. So you define that, you take your time to define that correctly, and then it is nothing to do with economic status. It is to do with belief systems and value systems, and what they believe in raising a child, things like that. So we are also learning in the process, but yeah, we have come a long way in our GTM.
It's beautiful. That's
Long
beautiful.
way there. So almost there to go ahead.
And you have
So next
funders
step.
ready is a great.
Yeah, but I am only slowing down because I want to take it only when I'm ready to take it.
What's been
Yes,
your
right.
experience on funding?
So when I started the business, I dipped into my own accounts to start the whole process. But then there was a government grant which we applied for. We were the first ones to get the grant. And that is what supported the business to make the pilot for the product. And because it's a commodity, right, it has to be made with the molds that are the final molds. There's no testing in that sense, because the material, because it's going to be tested on babies, so you have to use medical grade silicone, you have to go to a vendor who has all the certifications, because you're kind of accountable for everything. So very grateful that the grant came through and we were able to run a pilot, and then there was another grant that happened through a social, again that was a place called Social Alpha, and they work with startups which are in the social entrepreneurship category, and that is what, as far as funding goes, that is the help that we
How does one
got.
identify a grant? How does
So
one identify?
we have to be online and in touch with people, and we're constantly like searching. So there is how I also started the journey with something called Startup India. That's a very good forum for entrepreneurs, and because mine has been a single founder company, I just had to grab and take whatever I could,
Whatever comes your way.
whatever comes my way. So so they have some really nice schemes. Back in 2016, I'm talking about. They had something called a DIPP certified startup. Now, when you are a DIPP certified startup, you actually get tax redemption for the first 3 years for the product that you have created. So, so then that certification is really helpful, and then that certification further will help you get the other the grants when
The
you're applying
grants,
for grants. So it's like
It's one leads
it's
to another.
one leads to another. Then it also helps when you are when you are reaching out to people, even for them to help you with information, whether it is legal, whether it is on the product front itself. So all these things help, and yeah, that's how we work with the financing aspect.
How was the journey with the Buddy Network? Buddy Up
So with our app, we're like 6.5 months old. We have self-funded so far, bootstrapped, self-funded. Have lots of people helping us pro bono that have kind of supported us in this whole journey. Done things at cost. Of course, we'll be looking at grants, for any kind of. But basically, we envision ourselves as a social business because there is a revenue model. So therefore, we feel like eventually, when we can get to that, we will make it a self-sustaining business. Until that time, we've got to kind of use grant money or our own money, or maybe if we may have had some other sort of support from elsewhere. I think the thing was that we wanted to have control over the way this goes, and therefore we're not looking at external funding at this point, because we want to be able to do what we want to do with the app, rather than somebody dictating to us that you should have this many numbers and you should go in this direction. So we wanted to hold the reins, so we've decided to kind of
get that. How does it work from a regulatory standpoint, from governmental interventions?
So I just want to answer the previous one, and then I'll go into this. So I think for us, there have been two parts of it. So for the parent support group, when we started it, we registered the organization as a public charitable trust, so that we could get donations. And so that is running on its own. So over the period, we've had friends and family donate, and now we have some amount of corporate funding coming in for that. In terms of integrated, we have self-funded it completely, and it's been expensive because the audiological equipment itself is quite expensive. Yes, it is. And it's not like we've talked about earlier. We cannot charge the earth to provide services. So we're able to kind of get by. And we also, it's open to children from all backgrounds. So we do have quite a few children from the lower socioeconomic background who are not able to pay. So we have a slab of services given to them. So funding is something which I think we would be looking at. If there is any CSR funding or anything, we would certainly welcome that, because that's the only way we will be able to grow and take it to the next level. Absolutely. In terms of the government funding and things like that, we are actually very fortunate. In the last couple of years, the government has been funding the cochlear implant, which itself is quite expensive. So there are free cochlear implants available for children in India. There are also funded programs. There are charities who give cochlear implants. However, the therapy part is something that parents need to pay for, and that becomes very expensive because they are not able to sustain it. If there are children from the lower socioeconomic background, therapy is the key. To make the child learn to listen and talk, the therapy can go on from 3 years to 5 years and maybe more, because it's not that children only have a hearing loss. They have additional issues which also need to be taken care of. And therefore, I would urge, I think, people to look into supporting for therapy. I think that is a crucial factor. Government and individuals and CSR funding for therapy, I think that would really be a game changer, because the families would be able to take therapy for longer.
Absolutely. So thank you again. Thank you so much for your time. I have the last question for all of you. And if there's a mom watching this at this point of time, overwhelmed with the diagnosis or overwhelmed with the situation, what is it that you will have to say to her? What's the one thing you wish someone told you back then?
I would say there's a lot of power in your hands. So do not feel that, at least in terms of autism, which I can speak firmly, is that the miracle can happen from
Right
within
in
the
front.
home, from the parents itself. You take support to learn, you take support from other external sources, but there is a lot of power in your hands. And like any doctor would tell you, no one knows the child better than the parents. So there's a lot of power in your hands. Be courageous, and that would really help.
Anything you want to say about your organization as well, so that it's part of this?
Yeah, you can please do log into ASD Buddy. There is a 100-day free course for all parents. Please do go through the content. We have given a lot of free lectures and some demos for parents. Go through it. I know it's a new pillar and you may wonder what is it. So why don't you explore today and see what you can take back, and at least keep half an hour a day to learn, and learn from the right source. Social media is not the source to learn. That's not the only source to learn. And when you learn from social media, please ask, where is the evidence, where is the scientific backing for it? And don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask anyone questions. Okay, you have a right to ask the right questions. Go ahead and ask those questions. Be courageous, and that way you're helping the entire community as well. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Sudha.
I think for me, when I would meet a new parent, I would certainly say that there is hope. Early intervention, early detection, early intervention can lead to results. So don't lose hope. We also, when a new family comes in, we do share stories about other success stories about other families. So they feel empowered and they know that I'm just not talking in the air, but they can see that there is a way forward. So giving them that hope is something that we do regularly with all the families that we work with.
In a personal space, what is one thing you feel somebody should have told you when you were that young mom?
I think maybe saying that you can do it. I mean, I did do it, but giving
That extra
extra boost that you can do it. I think that's something, and giving hope, because I think we were fortunate to be navigated on the right path. I dread to think, had it not been for this path, where we would have been. So I think making sure that you are being navigated, you have the right information to go to the right source to make it better for your child.
Thank you so much. Anything you want to say, leave for that audience, or like with regard to your...
I think, like we have said before, ensure that your child is screened for hearing. In case your child is not being screened, make sure you go and reach out. You can come to us also to get your child screened. Make sure you are taking the next steps. If there is a refer, ensure you have gone back and got your child rescreened. Take the next step. Go in for hearing aids, cochlear implants if they are required, and ensure you get the right therapy by a trained professional in the space. You can reach out to us on social media. Integrated is the name of the organization. We'll be happy to help any of you if you need the help.
Thank you so much.
If I can just add one bit. Coming back to the point of courage, one of the reasons I want you to be courageous is there's one point where I really want parents to make a change. Ask for goals to be set for your child, wherever therapy center, whichever professional. Ask for goals to be set and ask them to track it after 12 weeks and say, let's see what we have done. Ask for accountability. Okay, don't wait and feel hesitant. How can I ask? Don't do that. Every 12 weeks, they are supposed to give you a report. If they don't give, push for it, ask for it. Don't be afraid. Okay?
Absolutely.
There is need for accountability for whatever therapies are getting done. Okay, maybe the child didn't improve, but at least let's log it that nothing changed in 3 months. Okay? So go ahead and ask for it. Ask for goals, ask for the tracking, and ask for where we are today. Okay, let's again set the goals. Let's reset the goals. All that works, but have goals.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you don't know where you're going, and you would have spent lakhs and lakhs, and you won't know where we are going. So ask for accountability.
So important.
I want to just add to that as a parent, I think, Sudha, you brought out a very important point. Every parent has a right to ask for a report. There are many families who come to us saying, "हमें report नहीं दिया." क्यों नहीं दिया? It is your child. It is your child's report. You need to have it. So ensure that your assessments are done, your goals are set, your lesson plans are shared with you, because as a parent, it is your right to want that so that you can work with your child at home.
First also message to the mothers who have had this child. It's tough. There are challenges, but enjoy that they expect. Just accept the child you are, rather than being in the world. Okay, I wanted something and I didn't get it. Okay, or make the best of it. Give all the love. Give all your this whatever you can for the child and accept what the child is. Oh, like how Kisha said, whatever you had planned for your child is there. No, it's supposed to it something. And for me, when I was young, I wish somebody people sort of told me, like, it's fine. But why are you so anxious? Why are you trying to push your child to be with, with this cure? It's okay. Everything goes at their own pace, and this time for everybody to go. The time will come, and I wish people had empathy rather than sympathy. A lot of people came and told, "Oh, how sad! How are you managing this?" So that is about our organization, special Hangout. You can check us on Insta. It's so easy to get reactive. Facebook page, our website. Frequently updated. You see beautiful faces, happy faces of moms and children, families enjoying life with the same child with disability. And yet, the unseen away to the job must appreciate how life can be so beautiful. The labels don't define the child. The child is what he or she is.
So I wish, so in terms of what I would say to parents with a new diagnosis is, I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is like form a community. It is going to really, really help you. Reach out to other parents because they're going to be your strongest they're going to be your strongest supporters. They're going to give you strength. I mean, I remember when we had our diagnosis, we reached out to, parents of older, young adults with Down syndrome, and just hearing them and seeing they were okay lifted that cloud from us. I mean, we felt, okay, they're okay, we can be okay. So just form your community, build a community not for yourself, build a community for your child, because that is what is going to just really help them with their sense of well-being, their sense of, help them with their mental health. What I wish I had been told when we got the diagnosis was, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. You are going to, your kid is going to grow up to be this person that if I had only known, my goodness, what my son would be like today, I would have been, jumping for joy at that point. He has just proved to be, the love of our lives, along with our daughter, of course. And so I wish I'd known that then. But you're so overwhelmed at that point. If there was a fast forward button that you could just quickly like fast forward and see yourself 20 years later or even 10 years later, I wish there was that possibility. You get a sense of it by meeting other parents of people who've been through that journey before you. So take that opportunity, reach out to those parents, form that community. And our app, Buddy Up Network, is available on App Store and Play Store. It's free to download. You can. There's two streams. There's a caregiver stream and there's a self-user stream. Caregivers can find other caregivers, to connect with. They can find friends for their children based on interests and locality and age group or diagnosis. So you have a way of forming those connections through an app. You may meet somebody in your neighborhood. You may meet somebody that your child is able to connect with because of a shared interest. So the platform is there. Do check it out, download it, use it, and build your community. Okay. My advice, I don't know whether that's the right word, but my message to parents who have received a fresh diagnosis is the mums mostly. It's not your fault. It's not the eclipse that caused the cleft. It's not that you were, I don't know, wearing the wrong color on a particular day. These are things we've heard. They are hurtful. They are not backed by science. Please do not blame yourself for something like this happening. That's the first and foremost thing that I want to say. Second is, do not be afraid, like Sudha said, to ask questions. It's okay to want your cleft team to be ready before your child is born, because it's well within your rights to ask for that. Very often, mothers are asked to wait. Parents are asked to wait. I've got numerous phone calls where they've said, we've been asked to wait. They're saying, oh, we'll deal with it. Once we know the depth of the cleft or the position of the cleft, we will let you. But it's okay to have your team in place before that. You can ask, you can move away. If you have references, it's okay to go to another reference, especially if you've found out before the birth of your child. And it's okay to read up on Google and go to your gynecologist, who's your first touch point, and ask for people who will do the NAN device for your child, or who will do the first surgery or the second surgery. Everything. Not to be afraid to ask those questions, because oftentimes you don't ask those questions and then we're lost. So that's that. On Boond. Boond can be, you can contact me on boondfeeder.com or email me on boondfeeder@gmail.com. For community support, there is a wonderful organization called Seerath, and also Boond is available with them, but they have built, they're slowly building a community which is only growing in numbers for cleft parents and for cleft-affected individuals, and not necessarily babies alone, but also young adults, old adults. They have seminars and meetups and all kinds of wonderful things. And also, if you're new and you're completely lost, then there are organizations like Smile Train and Operation Smile, who you can reach out to see which one operates in your locality. So that can be your first touch point, and then you can go ahead and ask your questions and figure out who you want your cleft team to be. And and
back to the time when I found out, I just wish someone had said it is going to be okay, because it did turn out to be fine. And they did say, I think they did. I had support, so I don't know whether there is anything in particular, but it is going to be okay. It's going to be more than okay. Babies are really resilient, and once you shower your blessings on them, they are like fire. So, yeah.
That's such a wonderful note to end this with. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thank you so much for making it here on the Sunday morning. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the special Mother's Day episode brought to you by the We Women Project. We spoke about the realities of raising children with diverse needs, from autism, Down syndrome, cleft lip, and hearing loss. We hope that you could relate to the stories that these amazing mothers brought out today in our episode, and how they have so beautifully embraced their personal challenges and navigated it into something that could help the community and make it a much larger cause. If you would like to know more about their organization, the links, or support them in any way, the links to the organization is provided in the description below. If there are any specific questions that you may have, you can drop us a comment and we will try to address them as soon as possible. And we hope you would join us again for the next episode. Till then, this is your host Vilasini signing off, and thank you.